Hello.
I had my mute on. Good morning,
I was going, what?
Today is Tuesday, September 16th, 2014, and this is before the first cup with Zori and Lady Pitbull on UCY.TV. I got it.
Yeah, soon to be joined by Jules. I think she was going to host, but I kind of usurped her on that. You there, Jules? Not quite yet. Hopefully she'll be here in a second.
It's been a crazy day yesterday and last night, because up north of me, a fire broke out in Weed and took out 110 homes in hours. And my best friend lives there, right near the fire. I can't get a hold of her. I don't know if she's there or what.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry.
Winds up to 44 miles an hour. It just... And the town relies on this one mill, and part of it burned, so that they don't even know if they're going to have work. Oh, it's horrible.
Is Jules with us now?
Yeah. Good morning.
Hey.
How's everybody doing?
Good. Were you going to host?
I was, but it's okay.
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I guess we can't fix it right now, can we?
No, that's all right, though.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm a mess.
Sorry.
I wish I could find out something. I mean, it was so fast. 40 feet high were some of the flames.
That's messed up. I mean, I remember 9/11. My sister being there.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling.
It's a very horrible feeling.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no info. You can't find out anything.
I know, and they evacuated, 3 towns and closed down the freeway, and, I mean, it was horrific.
That's horrible. Oh, my gosh, Zori, I can't even imagine.
I know, and no way. I mean, she doesn't have a cell phone, and...
Drive.
They won't let you. They won't let you in the area yet. So, I don't know. I hate that feeling of not knowing.
Jeez, you couldn't call your sister, could you, Jules, on 9/11?
No, nothing would go through. And I mean, we tried for days, actually. There was
days?
No message in or out. It was 2.5 days, I believe, before we were able to get a phone call through.
That's so scary.
Yeah, my parents were flipping.
I bet.
Well, I haven't heard of any deaths, so that gives me comfort there. It's just been structural damage. They evacuated really quick. So...
Was it like they had to evacuate like during the night?
No, it was yesterday morning. Afternoon it started.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And I mean, people didn't have time to get anything out. It took one apartment building almost immediately. And just with 44 miles an hour gusts of wind, and with the drought, it was, just watching some of the videos, it was horrifying.
Oh my God, I'm sorry about that. Sorry to hear that.
But I might take off and try and get up there today. I don't know. But, yeah, it's not a good feeling. But the winds have died down, and they have it almost 100% into control. So, it's contained. If the winds don't pick up again today, they'll more than likely have it out. But they're all out of power and stuff.
Now, where is this? Is this northern Cali or southern? Northern?
Yeah, up in Weed by Mount Shasta.
Now, did you guys see that hurricane that's coming up the west coast of Mexico is supposed to hit the southwest?
Yeah, it's supposed to go into Arizona.
Yeah, it smack head on into Arizona, and you're going to have southwest Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada getting like flood warnings now from this. Like, how messed up is that? And at first I thought, wow, that could not be like something normal. But then I did a search for Arizona hurricanes. And if you look at the wiki, since like 1900 or whatever, there have been quite a number of them. But at least not in my lifetime. I think in 97 was the last one that was of any significance. And back in those days, I was too busy partying. So I didn't pay attention to that shit.
Well, and like Phoenix, Arizona with that huge sandstorm last month.
Yeah, they've had those. I've seen those, though, where they're like the huge walls.
Yeah.
And I know down in Texas, too, they get them where, like, in the house, you always have a coating of brown dust on everything.
Oh, and let me tell you, I got caught in one once. You have sand in every orifice of your body. I mean, it's horrible getting it out. In your ears, in your mouth, your nose. It's gross.
And it's like that all over your house, too, especially when the rain is low.
Yeah, I was stuck in my car on a trip going down south, and every inch of my car, inside and out, had a layer of dirt.
It's unbelievable. I would freak over that.
I did.
I think what's happening to that Baja hurricane right now is that it's traveling up the coast, but I think it's traveling on land. So I think by the time it reaches Phoenix or reaches Arizona, it'll just be like a tropical rain event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets in. But regardless, that area is all desert. You know?
Right.
So, I mean, this time of year is when they get the, what do they call them?
Monsoons.
No, but the monsoons. Yeah, I always want to call them typhoons.
Oh.
I do call them typhoons, but no, they're officially it's monsoon season coming up here very soon. But still, I mean, I've been in Nevada, and I mean, we have listeners that are in Nevada, and people who live in Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and Utah, and you know, I mean, that's all desert down there. So.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying it's that same rain event that we're talking about is supposed to be up here in Michigan by Sunday.
Wow, great.
It's coming all the way up the jet stream, all the way up here.
Except
just
it
what we
skips
need.
California.
Yeah, well, it'll skip California.
It skips California.
You know it will. I mean, that's what the...
Well, they're saying rain Wednesday, but the last time they said rain, I got 3 drops of water on my windshield.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
So...
I guess if it's precipitation falling from some kind of cloud formation, they'll classify that as rain.
Well, yeah, and then they come in and suck up the moisture and take it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think they're taking it elsewhere? I mean, Dane's talked about the desiccants, and I mean, if you've ever taken a look at like that silica gel that they put into every product that you buy at a box store, I mean, that stuff just soaks it up. It doesn't release it. That's the same type of stuff that's in like a baby diaper, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that might be what they're doing too. I don't know, but you know, it's funny that I mean, a lot of this weather, this moisture and rain and stuff. Yeah, it's happened before, but not to the degree. And you know what I mean? Like so many things happening that are breaking records. I guess.
Right. Every day, just about it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've had the most rainfall ever for the month of August here. That's a record right there. And
yeah, it's like every day a record's being broke, so that's not normal.
Yep, absolutely.
So I hope we get some rain tomorrow, though, because it's really starting to get scary now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a clip. I'd have to find it. Let me see if I can hit the UCY page. But there was something yesterday, the day before, about they're now calling the California drought a mega drought.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't quite heard that term before.
Never. I mean, we've had droughts before, and I've lived through droughts up here. 72, I think, 70. Yeah, right before, about 1970, we had a bad one. But it was nothing like this.
That's terrible. I mean, I don't know. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, isn't this like your rainy season typically going into October?
Yeah. And I was reading an article where Oprah Winfrey lives and all, these millionaires are having truckloads of water brought in so they can keep their yards up, but nobody knows where the water's coming from.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, really, couldn't you just get well, I guess not. I mean,
but they're bringing water to water lawns. Why don't they bring water to help other people that, you know, are without water?
How much is it? I mean, how much of a big deal is it to just build a desalination plant?
Right, on the ocean. Hello. Same thing with Australia.
Great.
Now, I heard Australia's working on it now, but it's taken them long enough. Jesus.
I mean, come on. How hard is it? And they can purify and sell the damn salt.
Well, you know what they're doing. There actually is one in Southern Cali that's getting ready to come online, I believe. And one of the disturbing parts of reading that, like I've been all for ocean desalination and using solar. I mean, why wouldn't you do that, or wave power or whatever? But in California, what they're doing, well, not even the radiation, because you could even do distillation and pull a lot of that out. But here's the thing. They're dumping the salt back in right at the coastline. So just like anyone who's ever taken Chemistry 101, when you have a solution and you have a particulate that you're trying to dissolve in the solution, at some point you reach, I'm trying to remember what it's called, where it's saturation, the saturation point, right, where it starts to particulate out and it falls out of the solution because it's so saturated.
Yeah.
So shouldn't they be using that salt to, like, I don't know, send to New York so we don't have to use fracking fluids on the roads for, you know,
exactly.
Whatever. Why would you be dumping that back in the ocean as you're sucking out the water? That's just dumb assness.
Yeah, you can sell it to states that need salt for the roads. Hello?
Exactly. And I mean, it's sea salt, for God's sake. And because of the radiation, obviously, you probably wouldn't want to ingest it. But hey, how much radiation's in the fracking fluid?
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
Absolutely. And which one's safer to do? Come on.
Yeah, and that I don't know. You know, it eats cars and stuff. But whatever. To me, it seems like a really dumb idea to be dumping it back into the ocean as you're sucking out all that fluid.
Especially,
and all the livestock, all the fish are dying, the sea stars are melting, all this other crazy shit. So let's dump some more salt in the water.
Yeah.
Right?
Make the situation worse.
And they could be making freaking revenue from it.
Right. California, cash-strapped. You know?
It's a no-brainer. I mean, if we could figure this out, I'm sure the engineers that built that freaking desalination plant could figure it out.
Well, you know what? There's slippery palms. There's always slippery palms. Somebody's butt rubbing and sliding away. That's all.
Rubbing.
Hey, can you link my
yes,
my personal account, because I found that mega drought story. Let me just make sure my stream is not playing. Oh, answer. Good morning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, here, let me, boom. Here, California could be facing an unprecedented mega drought. Put on a seatbelt, Zori.
Oh, God.
Well, that might take a second.
Summer may be winding down, but Southern California is suffering from a triple-digit heat wave that's expected to continue right through this weekend. That's bad news when extreme drought already affects more than 80% of the state, and a new study warns that California could be facing a 30-year mega drought, posing unprecedented challenges to water resources. Brandon Scott reports from one town where water is already in dangerously short supply.
In California's relentless drought, Porterville is ground zero, a small town in the state's Central Valley where an entire neighborhood is without running water.
What's it like for you when you turn on that faucet and no water comes out?
It's very scary. Very, very scary.
The faucets in Kayla Hobbs' house stopped working last month after the well in her backyard dried out.
It's very heartbreaking because we don't have any water, period. And, you know, we need water in everything that we do.
She fills bottles at her mother's house across town, but it's not enough.
I can't bathe my son, I can't do my laundry, I can't cook, I can't do nothing.
Hobbs lives in a low-income neighborhood where homes aren't connected to the town's water system. Instead, they rely on private wells.
Many of these wells depend on groundwater from the Tule River, but due to the drought, this river is all but dry, and the wells it's supposed to replenish are running empty.
Now, almost 300 households don't have water.
You don't realize how much you need the water until this happens. It's awful.
Mary Mejia's family survives on water from this tank delivered by the county. Their well ran dry 3 months ago.
Every night we take a bucket of this and each of the girls take a shower with one bucket. And you would never believe you're going to be living out of a water tank.
The county has set up several of these tanks, but officials caution it's merely a short-term remedy.
The longer-term solution would be to develop some sort of community water distribution systems, but that's probably at least 3 years off.
Another solution? Drill deeper wells. but at a cost of up to $30,000, most of these low-income residents can't afford it.
They're living mostly paycheck to paycheck. A lot of them are on some sort of assistance, and so they just don't have the resources to go out and drill a new well.
Let's give him a large pack and a single pack.
So to help, volunteers like Donna Johnson collect water donations. Every day, she drives from house to house, bringing bottles to her neighbors, even though her well is dry too.
This drought is kind of like a silent killer. You know, people look at you and you go, oh, that's too bad. It doesn't register on them how serious it is.
A serious problem that until it rains will only get worse. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Brandon Scott, Porterville, California.
Now, there's a couple of really disturbing things about that, and one is the fact that there's water donations. We have wells drying up. Now, don't think California is the only place that's going to be faced with this, right? And we have that oligarch aquifer that runs from Texas up to, like, Missouri or something, right? Isn't it under, like, 8 states?
Yes.
Yep.
And that's getting very low. You have the Colorado River that was having some issues with replenishment. You have, what's the big dam in Nevada, right on the border there, Nevada and Arizona?
Hoover
Dam, yeah. I mean, when I was there, that thing must have been down a good 10, 15 feet from the line in the on the rock there, and that isn't being replenished easily. So you have to worry about, you know, the entire Southwest, including California. And California didn't used to be a part of that equation, remember? I mean, at least I didn't think so.
Right.
Just and the last year or two.
And now
our lake's down probably about 100 feet now.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're predicting it's going to last 30 years. Guys, this is the beginning of starvation for everyone.
I think it's the beginning of some major resource wars, at least. One of the other things, too, I was thinking about while this was playing is back in, I think it was like June or July, there was a video that came out about these water ATMs. Do you remember that? I played it on the show. They were using them in India and like some of the poorest villages that didn't have water, and you basically had a ration card is what it is. You put it in, you stuck your bottle underneath, and you filled it up, and then you took it to use it for whatever, you know, whether you did dishes or you washed today or whatever. And I have a bad feeling that it's going to come down to that.
Yikes.
You know, using your biometric ID card.
Uh-huh. A retinal eye scan, and then you get like a little pint of water every day.
Yeah.
And you know how they say every drop of water that's been on the planet is on the planet?
Right, it's recycled.
Right, but it's not being recycled, so I wonder if that still holds true.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we'd have to look at a lot of different things. I mean, the fact that we do have ice melt, you know, I mean, all this quote-unquote global warming. I mean, definitely the Arctic Circle is melting, and that's why Russia's all over it. I read a story a couple years ago about how they were salivating with those shipping lanes all opening up. Because now you don't have to go through the Suez Canal. You can go up north and just cut right over. And so that would cut way down on shipping costs. And Russia's in there. They just a few weeks ago were announcing a new military base up in the Arctic. Did you see that?
Oh, no.
Hold on. Let me find it. Russia military base Arctic. There it is. Yeah, I wasn't surprised by that because I know they've had their eyes on it for a long time. They've had their scientists up there long before anybody in the United States came out and started talking about those methane mass expulsions. Dane Wigington was the first one I ever heard on this side of the fence talking about it, but the Russian scientists were raising the alarm about a year beforehand, saying that up in that whole Arctic region, the methane was being released in large quantities, and it was because of the melting of the permafrost under the ocean. And they were thinking that it was because a lot of these new UVC rays were getting through, which Dan has talked about as well.
Yes, I remember him saying that actually now.
And look, other countries are thinking about things like that. What is this country thinking about? War.
Yeah, let's go blow our wad. on sending now 3,000 troops into Liberia to battle Ebola. Did you see that shit?
3,000 troops?
That this morning, I heard it on 4 a.m. BBC radio this morning, and I searched all over. There are no video clips yet, but BBC has an official story that Obama is getting ready to launch 3,000 ground troops into Liberia to battle Ebola.
Right,
now,
when you think it can't get any crazier.
Right, exactly. And remember that clip that we heard last week a couple times about that doctor out of Detroit saying that, don't think, it was a Press TV clip, don't think that, we're going in there to battle Ebola. This is imperialization.
How in the hell are you going to battle a freaking disease? You can't, guns aren't effective. What the heck? See, here's the thing. He sends over 3,000 of our guys that all have to come back home at some point.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
To a freaking, okay, this is obviously a move to bring it to our shores in a very blatant way.
Or something. I mean, why wouldn't you be sending that NBC team? Oh, whoop. You sent them to Fukushima and they all got radiation poisoning and they're dying. That Operation Tamagotchi. That NBC team was nuclear, chemical, and biological. That's what they were experts in.
Yes.
And, I mean, it didn't really give too many details as to what type of team they're sending. Hold on. I brought the story up just when I came down here. This is BBC News Africa. Ebola outbreak. Barack Obama, quote, to pledge U.S. troops to fight virus. Now, wait, wouldn't you send like 3,000 CDC
workers because that's what they're trained in?
Or how about CDC trained Doctors Without Borders or something? Why would you send freaking troops in?
Well, maybe so they could kill all the Ebola people that have contracted it.
Because guess what? They're not feeding them. The ones they're putting into quarantine, they're all breaking out. You know why they're breaking out? Because they're hungry.
Right.
Yep.
And they're thirsty, and they're not hydrating them.
That makes their numbers go up, so it could be even more of a fierce.
Right. And it creates a drought.
And don't forget, now, in the last week, they've warned, too, that, ISIS hiding under your bed is going to open the Ebola test tube.
Okay, someone needs to go in there and arrest Obama immediately, because when these guys all start coming back, they're all going to be fucking infecting their families. I mean,
I don't know about that, but they will have been exposed. And something that came up on RT's The Resident last week was that the title of the video was something about Ebola and STD, and one of the things they had discovered is that the Ebola virus lives in semen. Think about that one for a minute. That's pretty crazy.
And then all those suits that they ordered, how many was it?
Over 160,000.
Yeah.
Chem suits, level 3 chem suits, I believe.
Hazmat suits, yeah.
That for just the Justice Department staff.
Nice.
Just the Justice Department. It's not like the CDC was ordering them for them. It was the Justice Department.
Yeah, the department. Yeah, Justice Department.
I read that from the actual chem suit company's own website. They're bragging about it. Oh, we just got a bid from the Justice Department for $100.
No, we just won a bid.
Yeah, won a bid. Yes, won. That's right, won a bid. And it's funny because they've got their little at the bottom of the page of this particular chem suit. I think it's called Lakeland. They've got their Dow Industrial handle on there at the bottom of the page. I sent it to my dad, and I'm like, here's a hot stock tip, Dad.
Yeah, there you go.
Anybody who's
You know what?
sick,
It probably is too.
Mhm. Anybody who's sick and sadistic enough to invest in something like that, hey, here's a golden opportunity.
Well, I'll tell you, just looking at all the shit that's going on with these vaccines and RNAi and all these different pharmaceutical companies and what's been sitting in their pipeline waiting for human testing, I'm going to tell you, pharmaceuticals are probably a great investment if you want to flip your cash.
Right. If you want to phone the other side and you like, getting money from like the death and destruction of human beings.
Blood cash.
Yeah, blood cash. There's your opportunity, guys. It's golden. It's hot. It's piping.
All right.
Shut it the oven, baby.
Second. Let me go back to the BBC. I want to read the story. Ebola outbreak, Barack Obama to pledge U.S. troops to fight virus. U.S. President Barack Obama is to announce plans on Tuesday, so that is today, to send 3,000 troops to Liberia to help fight the Ebola virus, U.S. officials say. So I guess we shoot viruses now.
Yeah.
It is understood that the U.S. military will oversee building new treatment centers and help train medical staff. I got it now. There has been criticism of the slow international response to Ebola epidemic in Western Africa. Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea are the worst hit countries. The outbreak has killed more than 2,400 people. More than half of those killed by the virus have been in Liberia. The World Health Organization warned recently that the country could see thousands of more cases. United Nations officials will discuss the international response to the outbreak at a meeting in Geneva. U.S. officials said the aim of the country's anti-Ebola initiative is to, and we got some bullet points. 1, train up to 500 healthcare workers a week. 2, construct 17 healthcare facilities, each with 100 beds. 3, establish a joint command. Oh, there we go. Based in Monrovia, Liberia, to coordinate between the U.S. and international relief efforts. Oh, it's humanitarian aid.
Yeah.
Number 4, distribute home healthcare kits to thousands of households. And number 5, conduct a home and community-based campaign to train local people on how to handle patients. Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf has appealed directly to Mr. Obama to help in tackling the outbreak. Several disease experts have welcomed the U.S. plan, but some also question its focus on Liberia, and rightly so. Quote, we should see all of West Africa as one big outbreak, said the director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, quoted in the New York Times. It is very clear that we have to deal with all of these areas with Ebola. On Monday, Ghanaian President John Dramani, however you say it, Mahama, said greater and faster outside help was needed. Ebola spreads between humans by direct contact with infected blood, bodily fluids, or organs, and indirectly through contact with contaminated environments. And we also have seen a few rumors, and there was an article in the New York Times a couple days ago, that it is still very, very possible that it could be now transmitted airborne.
Mm-hmm.
So our military is going to train people on how to not get infected?
I guess.
What are these guys going to do? Sleep in hazmat suits? I mean, come on.
And N100 masks.
It may, you know what I mean? It's exactly like, I can't remember that clip you played, but the dude who said it's a CIA foothold.
Yeah, that was the press TV.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's obvious. It's so blatantly obvious, it's making me, like, turn green here.
Yeah, don't turn green.
Ugh, it makes me want to puke.
Like the chicken Star Trek.
Yeah. That's funny.
Somebody brought her up in chat last night that made me laugh.
That's great. Oh, my goodness. God, this is just so freaking bad. And it's getting worse by the day.
I mean, we'll use any excuse to get in there.
That's right. It's a huge excuse just to completely go in there. Oh, and what did you say? Oh, the entire western half of the continent needs to be classified. You know what I mean? Let's just claim dominion.
Well, and yet we do nothing to prepare the American people for it if it comes here.
Right. Don't worry about it. We're just going to keep letting flights fly in.
Sure.
Ebola, shmebola.
And send over
the borders
troops
open.
So that when they come home on Christmas during their furlough or whatever, they're infecting their wives and girlfriends, and it just spreads so nicely like that.
Well, could you imagine being in the military right now and getting your orders saying they're sending you to Liberia?
I would probably rather go to the brink.
Pants.
I'd rather go to the clink, man.
Yeah, that would be pretty scary.
And it just doesn't make sense. You would think they would be sending over doctors and scientists and researchers, but no, we're going to send our army.
An international coalition, no less.
Oh, of course.
Man.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you get the best doctors that deal with infectious diseases from all the big NATO countries, let's say? If you really wanted to send something that might be of some help and, quote unquote, militarily, but and like I said, it doesn't really give you any details on what kind of troops these are, so maybe they are from a medical unit or something, but still, 3,000?
It should be CDC personnel. Isn't that their job? What about the World Health Organization? Shouldn't some of those bastards be going in there and helping?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. WHO evil.
Yeah. Oh, no, but they're sending their little minions out to do it. And it's insidious. I mean, it's basically what's happening in California. It's going to, except the people are the woods and the grass. So it's this brush fire to get rid of the people, and oh look, we're here with our medical units. Look at the resources we get to plunder. I mean, it's just going to be.
Hey, can I play that water ATM? Speaking of California,
yes,
because I do. I mean, when this first came out, it looks like there was one video that came out in May and then one that came out in July. When this first came out, I absolutely, when I watched this, I was like, "Holy shit, coming to a town near you!" Because I mean. Eventually, that's what's going to happen, just like the biometrics that they're rolling out in India. And, oh, hey, wait, I got it written on an index card. Pulled it out into 4 African nations.
Oh,
I actually mentioned this to Brandon, so he was going to look into it and maybe update his biometric story. Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, and Nigeria. So no biometrics yet that I see in Liberia, but it doesn't mean it's not getting ready to happen. Here, let me click on this and join the call.
Having a dozen different systems for managing your real estate.
Yeah, hold on. It's commercial. All right, here we go.
For thousands who have been staying in this resettlement colony in India's capital city, Delhi, mornings start very early. People with whatever little they have at home out here to get water, clean drinking water from this tanker which has been provided by the government because the area has no water supply. But residents of another remote area in Delhi are a happier lot these days because the government has launched a pilot project to provide them clean drinking water. So the mechanism is fairly simple. You place your ATM card here in the slot and press this button. Your tumbler is here, down here. Isko daba dijiye. And there the button has been pressed, and now you can see clean drinking water emerging out of it.
Oh, look at.
A person can have at least 20 liters every day, and this is a water which has been treated by the process of reverse osmosis, so extremely clean for drinking. We are now at this low-cost water treatment plant which caters to the entire area. This is a tank which stores groundwater, and there's another tank beneath the surface which has a capacity of 10,000 liters. Now, the groundwater is forwarded to this machine. These are the membranes. This is the UV filter. And this is the place where the reverse osmosis takes place. This water dispenser has been put up for testing purposes for the staff who are deployed here. And it's fairly simple. The water gets transported via this pipe to these huge tanks. And the tankers come and ferry this water to the water ATMs, which we have already visited. This novel initiative appears to be changing the lives of many. But for those hundreds and thousands throughout the country for whom clean drinking water remains a rarity, several more initiatives need to be taken.
Oops. Yeah, so that isn't the same one that I watched way back. The one that I watched way back actually had them putting a card in, and she said it was like a few pennies a bottle or whatever for water. So it wasn't exorbitant, but still the point is the fact that, water's not available in many locations. And so here we have these, newfangled ATM things. So you can get your rations automatically.
Well, soon to be in California.
Well, I remember growing up, hearing like people say that in the future water's going to become more valuable than gold.
I said that since the 80s. Yeah. I remember telling my dad that the battle was going to be for clean water.
Mm-hmm.
I was a greenie, so I was watching all the pollution happening.
Right.
But I wasn't expecting like massive droughts.
I didn't really understand all the dynamics back then, but I was kind of a greenie too, actually, and that was like the community that we were always hearing this stuff from. And so I was always like, hey, I live in Michigan, you know what I mean?
Right, we got the Great Lakes.
Right, but, I mean, that's
now that China's
sane.
sucking them out with the help of Nestle.
That's right, we got China sucking them out, and now they're going to be coming here from California and maybe trying to reroute where these lakes are flowing in. You know what I mean? I mean,
well, not only that, and this is something I was talking to my daughter about, is the fact that as resources dry up, one of the things you got to be aware of is that the demographic is going to shift. People are going to have to move.
Mm-hmm.
And where are they going to go? They're going to go where the water is. I mean, there are no jobs anywhere except maybe down in the Southwest, chemical plants, oil, that type of stuff. That there are jobs, but en masse, there really aren't unless you're down in the oil fields.
Yeah. Then, like, the second thought to that, and how they could take care of that little problem, is release some God-knows suitcase thing in Chicago, and then, there goes Lake Michigan.
Well, right.
Or hit Fermi, too. There goes the eastern bit of it, all the lakes.
Oh, even have them up here around Rochester.
Yeah.
And on Ontario's side, there's all kinds of them on the other side of Lake Ontario.
Oh, yeah. Even if just one goes, it's just going to be like Fukushima.
Well, I just watched a video about a guy who proved that it was Lake Erie, too, how he came across the lake in a boat, and he passed, no one questioned him. He was carrying a suitcase, and he had, like, fake poison in it. It wasn't real.
He was dressed like a Muslim.
Right, and nobody stopped him, nothing. He could have contaminated all that water.
He crossed Lake Erie, apparently, like by whatever little boat or whatever, and then he went into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
in Cleveland
Museum, and
no one questioned him.
Anything, and he was in the thing with this like ricin, it said ricin on it, anthrax on another suitcase in big giant letters, and he was still able to go into the freaking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame over there, and nobody said nothing.
That's crazy. I mean, years ago, we would get into a boat, and you could go to Canada no problem, and nobody ever bothered you at all.
Yeah, obviously, they still don't.
No, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's all we need now with the water shortage and all this, and then, no one watching over our water systems at all.
Absolutely.
Well, even the aquifers. What was the county? Was that up in Oregon? I believe it was, where they drained that entire city aquifer multiple times because they thought someone took a piss in it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was in Oregon. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, it was in Oregon. But it wasn't like the first time. When I dug into that story, it was like the third time that they had to drain it for something stupid like that. Yet, on the other hand, it's open air. So, hey, Pacific Northwest, you're getting Fukushima radiation in an open air aquifer. You got dead freaking raccoons and whatever, bird shit, but you think a teenager pisses in it and you drain all million, I don't remember how much water it was, but it was like the entire thing.
Man, yeah, and where that water could have been like given and re-purified and given it out to California, you know what I mean? They
could have watered the California golf courses, damn it.
They're still doing that.
Yeah.
Jeez, unbelievable. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. I had that story, too, about the Russian base that just was getting ready to open up in the Arctic that I mentioned earlier. This was released on the 12th of September. Russia is building a new military base in the Arctic. The Cold War over the Arctic continues. From the Smithsonian.com, the increasingly ice-free Arctic Ocean is tempting the world's powers both with new shipping routes and with the prospect of oil and mineral riches. The climatological change in the polar region has sparked rising tensions and a rapid militarization of the region. The Moscow Times is calling it the Colder War. Two of the countries with a vested interest in the Arctic are Russia and Canada. And, of course, we piggyback on Canada, even for, like, some of the Arctic war games and stuff and the joint trainings that we were doing with Russia. We were doing under the umbrella of Canada because they were both responsible for that region for, like, the F-17s, I believe, the fighter jets.
Well, wasn't your dad involved in something up in the Arctic?
Antarctica. He was in the South Pole.
Yeah, wrong pole. Sorry.
Yeah, but same concept. He wasn't doing oil exploration though. That was 1960s where they did the scientific bases down in Antarctica.
Well, that has stuck in my head ever since that one guy left and nobody's seen him. Who was it? Someone high up.
It was
the one general that flew.
Yeah.
The Nazi.
Yeah, no,
that is
he wasn't a Nazi.
Constantly popping in my head for some reason.
The general that flew.
Yeah.
And he actually came back, though. But he said that he ended up meeting these people and went into this tropical place and all this other shit. Yeah, and his
Admiral
credentials.
Byrd.
Yes, Admiral Byrd, thank you. His credentials were pretty impressive before that happened, too. So I don't really know anything about that story. But my dad had talked about Dr. von Braun, Werner von Braun, which was the Nazi.
That's the Nazi.
Yeah, who went on the plane with him down there, and they swept him off in a helicopter, and they didn't see him for the whole year he was down there, except it was like 1966. There was nothing down there. There was the U.S. and the Russian base, right?
Yes, that's exactly the first thing that popped into my head. But yeah, that's Admiral Byrd was supposed to have like hit the center of the earth or something like that.
Right, Journey to the Center of the Earth type stuff.
Yeah.
But
anyway, sorry, I off tracked you, but it just keeps. It always pops in my head a lot.
Yeah, I don't know, and when you really try to dig up stuff on von Braun back from those days, he came down under the guise that they were trying to send a man to the moon, and my dad even said that was like his quote when he was going down there with them. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that they had been seeing these crafts coming in and landing and taking off during winter over, leaving melt holes in the ice, and they're like, what the hell are these? But they were saucer-shaped crafts. And, for years, I was like, well, why would my dad be pulling my leg, like, telling me stupid shit like that? And then I learned about the supposed Nazi UFO program.
Right.
Think about that, And that was supposed to be going on in Antarctica. So bring Werner von Braun, who they just gained from the Nazis after the end of World War II.
Paperclip.
Operation Paperclip, exactly. Right. He was the head of it.
Yes.
And then take him to Antarctica, make him disappear. About a year and a half before they went to the moon.
Right.
So I don't know. That's interesting.
It is,
especially since he said that his destination was the moon.
The moon. Yeah. He even put on his passport.
And your dad personally saw that shit.
Yes.
So
firsthand.
That's just a mind screw right there.
Yeah, it gives it a lot more credibility.
Oh, hell yeah.
It does. And, then it really gets me when you see what von Braun did in his later days where he worked with the space agency and then in his end years, he went to go work for Walt Disney. And I mean, think about
Walt Disney was involved in a lot of shit.
Oh, he sure was. And just this whole agenda with our children. Yes. And, supposedly he was partially cryogenically frozen.
Oh, yeah.
And they were into, they did all these videos. There's some pretty cool music videos that, to me, I thought they were original Disney that had Von Braun in them and all these weird, like, Disney animations of these otherworldly creatures with this great music and stuff that, I was like, Von Braun was trying to help them develop, like, a vision of the future or something,
Absolutely. They all have their agenda. They've been working on it for a long time, the same damn agenda.
Yeah, so, anyway, it's... I don't know if I had more time to dig into that. I would. There's not a lot of information about Antarctica back in that time, or about even the nuclear reactor called Old Leaky that was down there. That got disassembled, and they had to sink the ship because it was so damn radioactive. I only know about that because some of my dad's former, whatever you want to call them, compadres that he was down there with had contacted him and said that a lot of the guys were dying of these weird leukemia blood diseases. They were trying to blame it on that nuclear reactor.
Oh my God. Well, I'll tell you, if you want to hide, like, UFOs landing and taking off, you'd most likely do it at the South Pole.
Well, if you were testing them.
Yeah.
And Von Braun, one of his big things was trying to find a way around the Van Allen radiation belt. So, you had crafts going in and out of the atmosphere there, doing testing for radiation or whatever to see if it would kill monkeys and dogs. I could see that happening.
Yep.
Interesting. Very interesting. And we don't have any idea, like, even where they're at right now as far as with testing and what they're doing in these underground bases. And there's, like, a freaking... there's like rumors of underground bases under Disney that's like child trafficking rings, things of that nature, mind control establishments down there, programming centers for children underneath Disney World.
Well, speaking of programming children, did anyone see the story that came out yesterday in regards to Microsoft purchasing Minecraft? Whoa. Did you see that game?
No.
Like, I never paid attention to it, but we used to have a host on this network who did a lot of homeschooling, and she would talk about her kids spending a lot of time on Minecraft, and they would socialize, and they would build characters, and
I remember that.
It was kind of like a Second Life type thing where it was sort of like virtual reality. Well, Microsoft, now, when Microsoft bought Skype for like $2 billion, as soon as that happened, I called it. I was like, that's bullshit. $2 billion for a software company? That's insane. Right. They must have really wanted it bad. Well, I see the story this morning. Microsoft bought Minecraft for $2.5 billion.
Okay, what's up with that?
Well, think about it. Talking about brainwashing children, this game is supposedly hugely popular, over 1 million users of this thing. Right? So think about it. Now you got access to all these kids, and I don't even know what they do in here. Do they build things? Do they fight? Do they kill? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never played that one, but
I think it's like little boxes, and you have to like click on them, and it could be like you match stuff, and then but watch out for the mine.
Oh wait, here, it's. The company's name is Mojang, and they were a Swedish company, I think. Hold on. Yeah, a Swedish game developer, Mojang. Mojang is famous for his premier title, Minecraft, a sandbox game released at Alpha Stage in 2009, where you build structures using blocks collected from expansive maps, and has more recently gained popularity for its multiplayer capabilities with games such as Race for the Wool and The Walls being played worldwide. Another reason that it remains so popular despite being 5 years old is that the community helps drive forward its development, creating mods and maps for other users to add their version of the game, meaning that Minecraft can be tailored for each gamer's needs. So it really is like a development platform, and this is exactly what I was thinking. The deal was announced by the head of Xbox.
Oh my God!
Of course. And what are they doing with Xbox? They
Training
can see
little
your
soldiers.
dong.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
See your dong. It's all surveillance. Absolutely, training soldiers. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also now it runs on platforms such as PlayStation, Android, and iOS devices. So think about that audience that they're going to be able to capture for young people.
Yeah, absolutely. Bingo.
$2.5 billion for a 5-year-old homegrown baked video game.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Gates wants his hands on your children.
Yeah.
Well, they've had their hands on our children for quite a while.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, speaking of Disney, but that's what made me think of this.
But this takes Disney to a whole new level, really. I mean, if you think about it, it's...
I mean, with light flashes and all the crazy mind control shit, who knows what they could do?
Well, video games, even more so, way more so than TV, gets your mind into a hypnotic state in a deeper.
So it's a social network.
A deeper, yeah, that's right. A deeper alpha wave than even watching regular TV, and therefore they can implant whatever the hell they want.
And they're not in person. You don't know the person that's behind that other character.
Right. You guys heard about the I think it was you that read us, Jules, about the person, like, I don't know, in England or something, that sent a thought to somebody in India.
Yeah, no, it was India sending a thought to 3 people in France. Yeah, over the internet.
Yeah, so that could easily be done, I'm sure, by now, through video games and all this weird Minecraft stuff.
Well, here, I want to play you guys something because, that whole, like, transhumanist agenda, when we were talking about this RNAi, the RNA interference, and these new vaccines, and the GMO 2.0, and the new X and Y proteins that they got now in the synthetic DNA, right? Well, check this out. This came out on Pigmine yesterday. Maybe it was this morning, because this made me really literally shit.
Oh, God.
And Homo sapien 2.0, according to a researcher at the Global Brain Institute, a completely new human species will inhabit the Earth in just over 30 years. Now, this evolutionary step could be comparable to the transition from apes to humans.
So how do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, Global Brain Initiative?
Yes, it's the Global Brain Institute, and it's part of this whole brain project that they're all involved in. Google, DARPA, the National Institute of Health, Motorola is involved, Microsoft. Look it up. They're all in the middle of this. You don't think that this is for good, please.
This goes way beyond one world freaking government. This is one world hive mind.
Well, and control, manipulation, and the complete destruction of biological life.
Yes.
That's what this is about. It is about bringing in the new version of humans, which is based on synthetic life that can be patented and controlled. All right, here, I'm going to play a little more.
What kind of people will we become? Well, they say our biological clocks will undergo dramatic changes, which will allow us to live longer and give birth at an older age.
Think it'll have anything to do with the nanotechnology they get you to take?
Yeah,
your new vaccines and your food?
Yikes.
Well, I have another one after this, too. I hit some DARPA news last night, so I was pretty horrified. Hold on.
And of course, technology will continue to make our lives easier. All kinds of microchip implants will be placed in our ears and our fingers and make many devices completely obsolete. But
how exciting!
I can't wait.
No, what? I really hope that my kid remembers. I've told her so many times, if there's anything that Mom ever told you that you don't forget, don't take the chip. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, here, there's about another 40 seconds.
But this dependence on technology has its drawbacks, of course. In the future, humans are going to have to compete for jobs against, you guessed it, machines and cyborgs. And since most of the work will already be done and automated by robots, a sedentary way of life will ultimately take over and make us all a little bit bigger.
Oh, great. So with our competition with robots...
I couldn't tell if she was being sarcastic or if she was acting happy.
I don't think she was happy about it. I think she was being more sarcastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they want to turn us into. They want to turn us into fat sloths, totally controlled by, well, it's just the Matrix, guys.
That we will live longer, have babies later in life, like in 60 and 70 years old.
Or not at all.
Yeah.
Right.
How many people want to have kids at 60, please?
Once you turn 62, they're going to come out with death panels for anybody that turns of AARP age.
Yeah.
Well, they already have that counseling for when you're older. I mean, they're already going towards that with Obamacare.
Yikes, guys.
What? To, give up your resources that you're using on the planet for the younger generation?
Right. They have counselors so that if you want, feel that your time's due and you want, and then they try and convince you that it's better for everyone around if you just leave.
Euthanize yourself.
Right, exactly. And, maybe these chips are going to be in the Ebola serum. You know what I mean?
There's already all that nanotech. I mean, who knows what they can do with it.
And they could have it in the vaccines right now. I'm sure they do.
No, they
it could
do
be in
have
our
it.
food right now.
It is in our food.
Yeah.
And in the containers that holds our food.
Mm-hmm.
And probably in our environment.
Okay, I'm rocking.
And like I said, is my second head growing out yet?
Is my second head growing out my ass yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're going to turn us all into. It will just be like fed through tubes coming out of the wall. We don't have to get out of bed. It's just like the Matrix. That's what they're planning on. The Matrix is what they're doing.
Kind of. They're going to make us obsolete. Is what we are. It's Human 2.0. She said it.
In 30 years' time.
Yeah, or less. It's a generation. I mean, 20 is typically a generation.
By 2020.
I've seen that. 2040 is the whole. 2045 actually is what the Russian transhumanist millionaire was aiming for, but they're pretty far along the road already.
I think so. Usually when they say stuff like that, they're usually when they announce it is when they've already got it all set and ready to roll out.
Yeah, or at least they want to make sure it's in your brain.
Planting seeds. Nano seeds.
Yeah, nano seeds.
Shit. Oh my god. So it's 10 o'clock. I think it's the whole watch.
And we're doing great.
Well, huh?
Yes, all's well.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I still had a couple of things to say about the water thing.
We'll go back.
We're seeing here in Detroit, like when people's water is getting shut off, that it's a human right, and they're starting to call on the UN. Oh, darn it. Sorry.
Well, aren't they turning the water back on?
They're giving people grace periods, but the thing is that when that clip got played of that lady's well drying up in California, they're not calling the UN yet in California, have they?
No, but not only that, you're right, because I thought of Michigan as well. The other thing that they weren't doing is in Michigan, they were saying that those houses were uninhabitable with families with children if they didn't have running water. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So where was that in California? I didn't hear that either.
Right, and they would probably go and condemn. They condemned a lot of Detroit houses, and they'll just frickin' put a sign up and clamp your door shut.
I think that one town that they were talking about, I think that's the only town that's out of water here, and it's just a very, very small community from what I can remember.
Yeah, but that kind of thing will spread.
Right, that's the future.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So they're starving us out. They're preparing us to intake nanobots and things like that. They're radiating us.
We won't need water once we're, robots.
Well, robots don't need water, absolutely.
So here's the food supply messed with. The geoengineering, how much more can we take? They're breaking our backs.
Well, they're breaking the planet.
Yeah.
Well, they're terraforming this planet for something, and it's not for us.
Mm-hmm.
I totally think so. I've mentioned that before. My husband has mentioned, that was his first impression when he just started looking across all this, that it almost seems like a terraforming. And I almost am not doubting that now, but I remember when he first said that, I kind of laughed at him.
No, it's not a laughing matter.
I've thought about that ever since Karn, and I read a lot of his work that he's done, and the soil, changing our soil. It's a form of terraforming, but we don't know for what.
I bet you Von Braun knew. I bet you he knew the whole damn thing.
You have any contact with Karn?
I follow him, and I get all his emails and stuff. He's working more towards Morgellons right now with that aspect of it, but he's seeing things that have never been seen before in science.
I still want to know more about Morgellons. Long before I got involved in this stuff, I was researching Morgellons. And to me, it almost, like, my original thought, and this is before we really knew anything about geoengineering or anything like that, one of the movies that really affected me as a child was The Body Snatchers.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, and that was the first thing I thought of when I started seeing all these weird Morgellon stories. And I mean, it wasn't just one or two, there's lots of them, and all these people with these same freaky symptoms that nobody would even admit.
A lot more doctors and scientists are getting on board now, and they're saying everyone on the planet has this in their blood. He's gotten blood samples from all over the world. People, they tell you how to do it and send it in, and everyone has it. They just don't understand why some people seem to try and reject it when most of the people, their bodies are accepting it.
Yeah.
It's
so what's going to happen? We're going to have a duplicate one day when we go to sleep and never wake up.
Don't show no emotion. That movie was one of the first movies I ever seen at the drive-in, and that movie stayed with me my whole life.
Donald Sutherland and a really young Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah, the remake. That was the remake, not the original.
Yeah, that was the remake, but it was from like the late 70s, I think, and that movie scared the crap out of me. And at the end, with the bagpipes, he's standing on the dock and they're playing Amazing Grace.
Yep.
And you thought he was still like the last one that hadn't been turned, and then he points and goes, ah!
Well, I think the original, when I was a kid, I was only in like first grade or kindergarten, I think, when I seen the original. And I always looked at people weird that didn't laugh or stuff.
Thinking that maybe they were infiltrated.
Right. So, I don't know, But, yeah, you think of that. I mean, it's like they're trying to change our bodies, too. So,
well, I think that eventually that's the plan.
Yeah.
But I think it's to try and figure out how to merge us with the machine. And not for us. They don't want us to merge with the machine. They want us to get all the kinks out so then they can do it properly for 2 or 3.0.
And, I never was one that went for UFOs or people from other planets, but there's some pretty heavy evidence out there of that, too. It's not so far-fetched as it used to be in my mind. Especially with those drawings and stuff, back in caves of men with spacesuits on, and stuff. When you look at all that, I don't know. It's just.
I think one of the stories probably wasn't recent, but it was within probably the last 10 years or so that got me was that village in like the middle of Africa or something, and this entire group of school children had all seen this thing land and these creatures get out, and they all drew pictures, yet none of them had access to TV or the internet or movies or anything like that. And it really, it sent like it made all the hairs on my arms stand up, that's for sure.
I mean, who can rule it out, you know? I mean, how long have they been? You can't, not anymore. I mean, I don't know, there's just so many different ways this all could go, but it's definitely not in our best interest.
Well, and you know, then it makes you even think if, here's the thing, some of the NASA footage, and I've talked about this before, if you search NASA space UFO on YouTube and then put in either ISS for International Space Station or STS, which were the space shuttle missions, you'll see all kinds of footage that came from the live feed of those space missions where there's freaky stuff going on, okay? I have no explanation for what some of the stuff I saw was, like the tether incident or that one that I talked about just the other day over the Pacific Ocean where you had the UV light and you had the visible light, and in the UV light you see these craft coming in and out just over the blue ocean, and in visible light you see nothing. What the hell were they?
How about that thing in Colorado that they caught landing in right there in Denver?
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing: if they had something as simple as like a UV cloak, not even anything that would be, you know, complicated, we can't see UV. They could have been here for eons, living in the bottoms of our ocean that were 95% unexplored until now that they're releasing like Hydra underwater unmanned water vehicles, submersible vehicles into the ocean.
Yeah.
They're getting ready to declare war on the underwater aliens, guys.
Or maybe they feed on radiation.
Yeah, I've actually thought that before.
Yeah, I have too. It's just
like the jellyfish. The jellyfish all seem to swarm the nuclear power plants.
Yeah.
Yet they actually have mentioned before that when they look at the genetics of a jellyfish, they probably are the most alien creatures on the planet.
Yep, I read that article too, you know, and it is a trip that they all swarm around radiation plants, so. Oh, there's so many ways. I mean, my brain just spins sometimes. It gets going so far.
Yeah.
And all the little things you've read seem to keep popping into my head. You know?
Oh, no.
Like your dad, that thing. And then my brain just keeps taking it further, and
if you want, I'll drop you that interview. I still have that on MP3 from Christmas.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Want to hear it again? I don't know where it is in the archive. But you know what? Hey, just so you guys know, in case anyone's ever looking for an old archive, I don't think I've ever pointed this out to anybody, but I will right now. Every show has its own RSS feed, right? So if you go to the show page, you'll see where there's an RSS, that little orange icon with the bars on it in the upper right-hand corner for archives. When you click on that, it takes you to a page full of listings of MP3s. But if you look up in the address field of your browser, you'll see that it gives you this long string. And hold on, I'm going to go to the Before the First Cup. So it'll say, you know, UCY.TV feeds, archives, the name of the show, Before the First Cup. And at the very end, it'll have an and symbol, num equals, and the default is 10. So all that says is to return 10, the last 10 shows. But if you literally go in and you put num equals 100, it goes back through the archives. It'll pull you the last 100 shows and give you the links to them.
Oh, okay.
It's just because I don't want 100. I mean, you know, you have 100 archives showing on a page. People are going to be like, oh, my God, where do I click?
Right.
So it's the last 10. But if anyone's ever looking for an older show and you have some clue as to when it was from, I mean, a lot of them are on YouTube. But remember, I used to do all that by hand. So there was a point where I was just so saturated with my daily work and my two machines were at complete full throttle. I couldn't do them by hand anymore. I was ripping every single show by hand. everyone. I just couldn't do it. I had to give up for a while, but that's all automated now, so that goes up. So probably for the last 6 or 8 months, all the shows are up there. But if you're looking for the MP3 archive, though, just hit the RSS and then change that number beyond 10, and you can scroll down, and it'll keep going for as long as the archives have been kept, which was since the beginning of the show.
Great, thanks. Because I have a lot of them downloaded already.
Yeah, well, just know they're there if you need them. So, just a quick thing here. So I found a thing for the show, a picture, and it's in a dark coffee brown. And all it says in big letters is, "How do you feel when there is no coffee?" And at the very bottom it says, "Depresso."
That's hilarious.
Tuesday morning humor.
That's stupid.
Stupid, but funny.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I don't know. I'll be quiet for a few minutes if you guys want to rattle off on something. Something not Jules rocking related.
Oh, my God. It seems like we kind of blew the whole thing, like, in the first hour there.
Well, no, I got more. If you guys want to keep going, man. I hit some DARPA news last night that was kind of disturbing. Here's one, though, that I want to play for all you guys. So just as all this is going on, I don't know if you caught this yesterday, but lo and behold, the CIA says that ISIS may have overnight, like mushrooms, tripled in size.
Oh, my God.
Like, I want to know who's keeping count for
and
it.
how.
Yeah.
Right? How are you keeping count of all these guys? All right, here, hold on.
The White House is moving forward with its plans to destroy the Islamic terrorist group known as ISIS. President Obama's war plan now includes deploying an additional 475 U.S. military advisors to Iraq, bringing
advisors
there to more than 1,600. But the CIA says ISIS is growing too. Juliana Goldman is in our Washington bureau with the latest. Juliana, good morning.
Good morning. U.S. intelligence now estimates that there are between 20 to 31,500 ISIS fighters on the ground, and that's more than double the previous estimate. The growing numbers come as President Obama announced that retired Marine General John Allen, who was the top commander in Afghanistan, will serve as special envoy to help oversee the international battle against the terrorist group.
President Obama used his weekly address to provide an update on the U.S. campaign to defeat ISIS.
This week, Arab nations agreed to strengthen their support for the new Iraqi government and to do their part in the fight against ISIL, including aspects of the military campaign.
He's tasked Secretary of State John Kerry with assembling that coalition. On Friday, Kerry was in Turkey seeking its support.
I'm comfortable that this will be a broad-based coalition.
But Kerry said it's too soon for specifics and declined to say what role individual nations will play. Back in Washington, a debate is brewing about what to call the offensive President Obama is launching against the Islamic terrorist group.
The United States is at war with ISIL in the same way I think we are at war with Al-Qaeda and its Al-Qaeda affiliates all around the globe.
The White House and Pentagon are both calling it a war.
Make no mistake, we know we are at war with ISIL.
But in an interview with CBS News' Margaret Brennan earlier this week, Secretary Kerry made a clear distinction, calling it a counteroffensive.
I think war is the wrong terminology and analogy. I don't think people need to get into war fever on this.
The terminology could raise legal and political issues, with a war-weary public and the administration asserting it has the authority to expand the mission in Iraq and into Syria without congressional approval. It is, however, asking Congress for $500 million to train and moderate Syrian rebels.
Congress is expected to begin debating that request by the middle of next week, around the same time that President Obama is scheduled to fly to Tampa to meet with CENTCOM commanders and discuss implementing the plan against ISIS. Anthony, that's set for Wednesday.
Juliana Goldman in Washington. Thanks, Juliana.
So wait a second. $500 million now to arm these quote-unquote moderates that Tuberville says don't exist in Syria, right, to fight ISIS. Yet ISIS were the rebels that we sent into Syria to go fight Assad.
Exactly.
But wait. We happen to have... Hold on, let me kill Skype here for a second. I saw a story last night. we happen to have 46,496,145 food stamp recipients right now in the United States. 46 million.
Whoa.
Now imagine if they shut them off.
Think about this. It says food stamp recipients can fill Yankee Stadium 925 times.
Oh my God.
In June of 2014, there were 46,496,145 recipients of the food stamp program, which is enough to fill Yankee Stadium 925 times, according to data from the Department of Agriculture. The Yankee Stadium is equipped to hold 50,291 persons, meaning that the 46,496,145 Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program SNAP recipients in June 2014 could fill that stadium 925 times. The number of recipients was up 270,999 since the previous month in May 2014, when there were 46,225,146 individuals participating in the program. Now, didn't we also find out that J.P. Morgan makes money on SNAP cards or something?
Yep.
Aren't they doing all that out of New York City somewhere?
I think so.
Hold on. J.P. Morgan. I thought JJ actually brought that up.
And
SNAP.
what they always say, control the food, control the people.
That's right.
Here, how J.P. Morgan makes hundreds of millions of dollars on the SNAP program. Here we go. The Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, does a lot to help out low-income American families. 46 million Americans participate in the program, half of whom are children. This means that there's a lot of money in SNAP. Thanks to the weak economy, SNAP expenditures increased from $30 billion in 2007 to $72 billion last year. SNAP is regulated as part of the Farm Bill, and as this year's bill is being debated, so this is from a few months ago in Congress, much attention has been focused on cutting some food assistance for poor Americans. But whose food assistance won't be cut? The big corporations that profit off of SNAP. As Michelle Simon writes in a recent paper, food stamps follow the money, while much attention has focused on how farm subsidizes fuel, our cheap, unhealthy food supply. SNAP represents the largest, most overlooked corporate subsidy in the food bill. Simon outlines how three different powerful industries profit from SNAP: food manufacturers like Coca-Cola and Kraft, food retailers like Walmart, and big banks including J.P. Morgan Chase, which work with states to administer the benefits.
Bingo.
So, whose best interest is it in that most of the country's on freaking food stamps?
J.P. Morgan.
Well, the big corporations.
Banks,
That's right.
Corporations, yeah.
Right,
They run
and
the world.
as you happen to be dependent, well, they get to manipulate exactly those who control the food supply.
And it's not a coincidence that program is called SNAP. It's Snap Your Necks.
Yeah. Snap it. Snapper.
Dumbasses.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. Here, I'm going to drop both of these in chat.
That's craziness. I mean, absolute. And people just...
But everything's okay. Hey, we got all kinds of new jobs going on, right? That we're giving to robots.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my God.
We have plenty of money to go over and go to war with
And
other
give
countries.
$500 million.
Yeah, where's
to
all
the,
these billions and billions coming from for this
taxes?
This food stamp thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Print money.
Billions. I mean,
We
70
just keep printing
billion?
money.
70 billion
Yeah, they can print money.
It's all borrowed, and then there's interest, right? And then we're paying the
Sure.
Federal Reserve the interest, so it works out for everybody, man.
Right, we
'Cause
borrow
they're all
from
invested.
ourselves, and then
Right.
we pay interest on our own money.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then
That's what
Congress
the Fed-
makes bank because they're all invested on Wall Street.
Yep.
Right.
So, it's insanity, that's for sure.
It's a house of cards.
It's going to come right down very soon. It's already crumbling right now.
So, we're talking about ISIS. So ISIS is just like expanded like fungus, right, to 30,000 or whatever.
Right.
So there's this clip that comes out from Lee Camp. Lee Camp, we used to play him a lot, and now he's over on RT. He did a piece yesterday called "Americans Don't Actually Know Who We're Bombing."
True.
And I think he's right. He
is right.
Here, wait. Let me reconnect again.
You're going to play that?
This. Yeah, hold on.
Wait.
Many often wonder how long does it take to gear up the American populace for war, to really get us afraid of a brand new enemy. And we discovered the answer recently. A couple of months. 2 months. Takes a few months. Last if the bad guys have the word Islam in their name. ISIS did not exist in the minds of Americans until a few months ago, and now it is literally under your sink. And yes, I mean literally in the correct way, not the teenage girl way. They're under your sink. My neighbor's dog was killed by an ISIS just last month. So clearly we have to bomb a lot of things, right? But what? That is the question. Where are we bombing? It turns out Americans have no idea. According to a YouGov poll last week, Americans think we're probably bombing Syria, and maybe bombing Gaza, and probably not bombing Yemen, but who knows, is that really a country? These are bombs. People are dying. You can't treat each bombing campaign like a temporary tattoo. Like, one there, whatevs. No, whatevs. Of the 196 countries in the world, do you know how many know when they're bombing another country? All of them. All of them. We are the only country where which countries are you sending back to the Stone Age with crazy military weaponry is an extra credit question. And if most Americans don't know which countries we're bombing, how could they have a problem with the people in those countries, so much so that they want to bomb them? Yeah, I can't tell you the number of times I've been on the metro, and if I had a nickel for every time I heard a fellow strap hanger say, I gotta tell you, these mother Somalis, all right, I will battle them until my last breath. Nothing worse than Somalis. I would be a rich man. Just a nickel is all it would take. 5 cents for each time a portly gentleman taking up 2 bus seats, pumping out breath that smells of dead rat babies, pulls my newspaper down and says, excuse me, sir, do you want to trash these Yemeni bastards as much as I do? They are the gravest threat to our civilization, next to Ray Rice and, I think, feline AIDS. Just a nickel, and I would be wealthy, I tell you, because Americans know what's right in the world. We're just not quite sure how to bomb it.
I've always been a fan of Lee Camp, and I was really kind of excited for him that he sort of made it. I mean, RT isn't necessarily mainstream, but they do have a cable channel, so he definitely has gotten out there a lot more than when we first started this. But I think I might have to message him and tell him that he's got to stop the babe audience from laughing.
The babe audience, that totally
annoying.
Is turn off for me. I mean, that detracted all those stupid bitches laughing. Was just
and they're all Putin's picks, right?
Right.
We talked about that. The Putin bimbos.
Yeah, dude. It totally. I'm just sitting here through the whole thing, wishing that he was just by himself.
Yeah,
again.
Actually, one of our hosts is friends with him, has known him for a lot of years, so I'll hit her up and see if she can say, hey.
Yeah.
Tell the babes to keep it under their hats.
To actually take him out of the freaking room, that would be the best thing.
Well, I'm sure if I was in the room, I'd be laughing too. But yeah, it kind of takes it out, versus his old ones where he would just be kind of snarky, and there would be no laughter. You'd be dying.
Yeah, exactly. Those bitches were just nasty.
But he's absolutely right. He's absolutely
laugh
right
because they were laughing.
I love the truth that comes through humor.
Well, absolutely. We just were talking about that the other day. Some of the best truth has come out through comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bill Hicks is my personal favorite.
Yeah, it's slipped under the radar.
Yeah.
So here's one more clip I want to play, and I posted these on my personal page last night, but I was kind of going out on a limb to scare friends and family. This one, yeah, I try not to post political stuff on my page, usually just weird news, but some days I get annoyed and I'm like, how can these people be so blind? What channel is this from? This is from Where's this? Hold on. Kill that for a second. There's a story out of CNN, and the title of this was, "Where are the anti-war voices on TV?" You know, he brings up a pretty good point now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like, where are they?
Like, where's those ones from Democracy Now! And all those?
For many of them.
Right.
I mean, every time we've gone in and tried to kill people, haven't there been voices? And even Brandon brought up in his show last night. Like, last year when we tried to sneak in the back door of Syria and start a skirmish, people rose up and they had, trying to expose all the corruption and all the bullshit that we pulled.
NPR.
Right, but
well,
where's
now they're
it now?
all concerned with Ebola.
ISIS. ISIS is hiding under the sink, right? We said yesterday they were hiding under the bed. Maybe both.
Absolutely. I said that last week.
Yep. So.
Because Obama keeps saying, we're going to, go anywhere and find them wherever they hide. And he keeps saying it over and over.
And he was right. 2 months ago, no one had ever heard of ISIS.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And now it's the main topic in every story, just about.
Yep. Absolutely. Here, let me play this one.
If you're like me, you've noticed that almost all of the people who get booked on cable news shows to talk about the threat posed by ISIS are advocating some form of robust, violent action. Clearly, there is a threat, but the range of opinion seems to be Obama's strategy to deal with ISIS over here, and then calls for even more sweeping military action over here. Shouldn't we widen that range of opinion to offer a greater variety? Well, that's exactly why I've booked Congressman Barbara Lee this morning. She's a Democrat from California. She's one of the House's most liberal members. And she was the only one, back in 2001, to oppose the post-9/11 authorization of military force. She is also against President Obama's current bombing campaign in Iraq. We talked earlier in Washington about the president, the polls, and the press. You were on the lead with Jake Tapper this week, I saw here on CNN. Other than appearances like that here on CNN, do you feel that your point of view is represented effectively enough on television and in the press?
I have not, at least my experience has been very seldom are progressives called people who have an opposing point of view to whatever the current thought is and the current polling data is showing, that they're called to be on the media and on the press to have these kinds of discussions. And so,
because guess what? If you have opposing views, you are now a terrorist.
Yep.
That's what happens. Didn't NDAA call that out?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's very, in many ways, derelict. Because we're here to make sure that people know what's going on, that they understand the issues, that they know what the crises are about, so they can really understand what the solutions could be. But if they only have one point of view, that's the point of view they take and embrace.
What you're saying?
And that's the point, isn't it?
That's right.
Exactly.
And sort of contradicts the notion of a liberal media, that reporters are biased in favor of liberals, because you're saying you don't think progressive voices are heard often enough in settings like these. Has it been a lonely feeling for you over the years? I mentioned that lone vote in 2001. Do you have more colleagues who are siding with you these days than you did 13 years ago?
13 years ago, after the horrific attacks of 9/11, a resolution came forward, which for me was a blank check. It was very broad. It was not defined. It was not a resolution that, quite frankly, I could support. And it's a resolution 13 years later that's been used over and over and over again for bombing campaigns, for domestic spying. The Congressional Research Service gave us a list of over 30 times that it's been used. So it was a blank check.
Let me read from CNN's polling this week about this. It says, Americans are increasingly concerned that ISIS represents a direct terror threat, fearful that ISIS agents are living in the United States, according to a new CNN ORC International poll. Most now support military action against the terrorist group. To what do you attribute that point of view that we're seeing in these polls?
Well, I'm not sure. I think, again, the media has really focused on a lot of the very terrible things that are going on. And the president, of course, tried in his speech, and I think he did a good job, in saying, yes, ISIS poses a threat, not necessarily immediate or imminent, but long-term. And I think it's important, though, that we not allow fear to settle in. We have to understand the world in which we live. It's a dangerous world.
I want to read you something that was written in response to Reliable Sources last week. I talked on the program about the difference between 2003 and now, the run-up to the Iraq War and this current action. And Seth Mandel at Commentary wrote this: "What media personalities are reacting to is not a hyped future threat, but the fact that ISIS terrorists are beheading Americans and sending out the videos of the acts. And the response from commentators has been revulsion, entirely appropriate, not supposed water carrying for intel sources. The comparison is irresponsible and false."
The thing is all those stupid videos are absolutely fake. So
exactly.
I mean, that's the plan, is to make everyone repulsed by what they see, but people are stupid enough to believe it.
And gullible.
I actually saw yesterday during the show, I came on right at the end, and remember we looked at that video that said that it was the guy, that Haynes guy, in the video, that he was giving his goodbye, but he looked completely different. Yeah, I dug into that, and it was somebody had posted it on Live Leak incorrectly, but I did find the actual beheading video for the most recent guy, the British-Scottish guy, and just like the other two videos, when ISIS goes to cut his throat, he starts doing the sawing motion, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't we already debunk all that crap?
Yes.
And then it cuts away and blacks out, comes back, and now here's the body lying on the ground with a bloody head sitting on its back.
Right.
And I mean, it sure looks real, but I've seen a lot scarier realness in a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, exactly. Or in a freaking haunted house.
Or in a haunted house, absolutely. I mean, it's not like they can't do that shit with CGI and stuff, too.
In blood packets.
Right. So, all right, let me play the very end of this.
Compare 2003 to now. Do you feel that we may be learning the wrong lessons from the Iraq experience in 2002 and 2003 and applying them here in what is absolutely a very different case?
But it's the fear and it's the anger and it's the revulsion. With regard to what took place as a result of 9/11, the horrific, the terrible, the horrible attacks, and the lives that were lost and the communities that were shattered, we're still, in many ways, in mourning from that. And these terrible beheadings, the brutal attacks that are taking place now, anger sets in quite naturally. Then once that anger sets in, you want a response. An angry response, and that may
an angry programmed response.
Yes,
right?
You want
the revulsion. Oh, how bad we felt, but it was all manufactured bullshit. All of it.
You're more apt to be hit by lightning than killed by a terrorist.
Right. All right. Here, did you know this? This woman's from California, by the way. This is Representative Barbara Lee.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't run across her.
It's Barbara Foxter Lee. Something like that?
No, I don't think this is Barbara Boxer. This is Barbara Lee.
Oh, okay.
All right, here, I'm going to play the last 10 seconds.
There may not be in the best interest of our national security. There's a history to this. Mm-hmm. So we don't want that history to repeat itself in 10 years. We have to get it right this time.
Congresswoman Barbara Lee, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Get it right this time equals I'm voting on the $500 million to give the moderate rebels in Syria.
That's correct. That's what it means. And she's trying to get more support with her constituents.
Well, I think it was Brandon's show last night that I heard him say that any time that Congress seems to come together, and meaning like come together on one issue and not be at each other's throats, is when they're coming together on an issue to screw Americans.
There you go. Exactly. That's the only time they come together.
Yep. And remember, this whole military-industrial complex, and I wish Pigmine 5 wasn't gone because all these videos were out there, but every single one of those congressmen were making bank on all these military companies.
That's right. So
I might have that ripped to MP3 here somewhere. Hold on one second.
Oh my God. That must be... That's exactly what they do, and that's why congressmen are also allowed to trade on the Wall Street and get all kinds of backdoor insider trading. Absolutely. So they, hey, if you're a congressman, then you're doing pretty well.
And then all the lobbyists that give them money.
Oh, sure.
Right, and that's all still legal. I believe their salary was like $174,000 a year to boot.
For life.
Yep.
If ISIL's dangerous, you're going to vote that way.
I don't know if it was for life. Like, once they're out of office, I don't think they get paid that.
Well, no, it's at their retirement. They do get $174,000. I was just reading it just the other night, and people are trying to get together to change that.
What, they get their salary in their pension?
Yep. And their wives get, also.
Their wives?
Their wives. And including the president, all congressmen. You didn't know that? I mean, they voted that in a long time ago. Their own retirement. They don't pay into Social Security or anything. They have their own. And people are trying to get that changed. Yeah, we pay for all the congressmen. I'll find the article. I was just reading it just the other day about how they get their full salary.
Well, here, I got a story right here. Do members of Congress really get a full pay pension after just one term? Instant full pay pensions, Cadillac benefits, and no Social Security enrollment. There are a lot of rumors floating around about the web as to the perks lavished on members of Congress. Let's first address the pension misconception. Members of Congress elected after 1984 are covered by the Federal Employees Retirement System. They are fully vested once they've served 5 years, but that does not mean that they get full pay. Their full retirement is based on a number of factors, including their length of service as well as options they select when enrolling. They must be 62 before they can begin receiving benefits, 50 if they serve 20 years, and benefits can be received at any time after retirement, regardless of age once they've served 25 years. The typical pension range is between $35,000 and $60,000 and cannot, by law, exceed 80% of whatever their pay was at the time they retired. Serving the minimum of 5 years will only secure an annual pension of around $15,000 once the retiree reaches 62.
How old is that article? Is that a recent one?
It's from 2011, so 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
So my question is, what if they're still serving? Because you got skeletons in there like John freaking Dingle and John freaking
70 years old, yeah.
And who was that guy that was in there well into his 90s? That was Strom Thurmond.
Oh yeah, what wasn't Strom Thurmond on the Supreme Court?
Yeah,
the Supreme Court.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was like a senator.
Why are they for life? We need that definitely.
But I'm wondering if they're still serving though, because I mean, what Ron Paul was in his 70s.
Strom Thurmond was a senator from South Carolina.
That's what I thought. And was he drawing pension and getting paid?
Yeah, who knows? Well, no. I mean, if it's a public pension system, they don't let you get a pension if you're still working at your job. I mean, if you go to work, like let's say you retire and you're getting Social Security benefits, and you go to work for Home Depot or Walmart as a greeter,
you're only allowed to make so much,
right? And then they start reducing your pension,
right?
Your Social Security payments. So.
So that's...
So I don't know. I mean, it would be up to each plan, though. You know, an actual pension plan, that each plan has its own rules.
That's true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They got their own set of rules up there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it's nice when you can vote in your own raises, you know.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before? We were talking about the military-industrial complex and them all being invested in the system.
Right.
I wanted to see really quick if I can find that.
Oh, yeah, you were looking for a clip.
Yeah, I think it's Congress are all, like, 50% of them are millionaires now.
Over 50 last time I read.
Yeah, hold on. Videos.
Jules for Congress.
Yeah, Jules. Here we go. It's a new one, August 14th. I gotta connect again. Oh, this is Sank. Sank. I don't know. I don't really listen to these guys. The Young Turks. Sank.
I do sometimes. Some of their articles are pretty good.
Yeah, but they're... I don't know if I want to play this one. Hold on. I'm going to grab this clip, but there was like a straight from the horse's mouth one, too.
It's always best.
Yeah. Oh, that's from April. Here's one from May. I mean, it's... Oh, wait, this is from 2013. It was 47%. 2014, it was over 50%. Bloomberg. And, an onion story. Half of Congress reps are millionaires. That was true. Here, we'll do a local story, maybe. Yeah, I don't want to play the onion.
No.
Yeah, here, we'll do CNN. Oh, wait, I called... Oh, damn, hold on.
You called the wrong person.
I called our surprise guest. By mistake, you're probably like, what? Hold on 1 second. Here, let me join the call.
Surprise.
All right, here we go. This is by CNN. Millionaires now majority in Congress.
And no American need be left out.
Affordable housing to the American people.
Democrats are standing for the middle-class families.
Middle-class Americans.
Despite all the talk about economic hard times from lawmakers, the Center for Responsive Politics has found the median net worth for a Congress member is now at $1,008,767, meaning for the first time, just over 50% are millionaires. That's a lot, because when you think about the rest of the population, only about 3% of us can call ourselves millionaires. And look who has all the money in Congress. Leading the list is Darrell Issa from California, a Republican with a net worth of $464 million. You can go to Virginia to find the top Democrat, Mark Warner, $257 million. And another Democrat is in third, Jared Polis from Colorado, with $197 million. And this is based upon their income for 2012 on their tax returns. Congressional Democrats overall are slightly richer than their Republican colleagues, and senators are much richer than members of the House. Senate Majority Leader Democrat Harry Reid is worth over $4 million. Speaker of the House Republican John Boehner has about $500,000 less than that. Still, they all get salaries. A regular member of Congress gets $174,000 a year from the taxpayers, or about 4 times as much as an average American earns in the same period of time. And how do they invest all their wealth? The Center for Responsive Politics found that some of the top stock picks include General Electric, Wells Fargo, and Microsoft, just to name a few. But as a general principle, they like investing in real estate, in big oil, in securities, in big banks. In fact, investing in many of the businesses that they're so often called on to investigate and regulate for the rest of us.
So, I mean, this one enumerated a lot of them. There was another clip that talked about the military-industrial complex as well. So every time they go voting on funding more war, of course you know that they're thinking cha-ching.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, did you see my message, Wendy?
Shit, no, I'm not at my computer. Sometimes it hurts to sit for 2 hours in this chair.
Oh, I know.
So
I had a feeling. I tried sending her a message in her other Skype too, and I thought, she's not at her computer.
Oh, shit. Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
So, yeah, long story short, I mean, anyone who thinks that these people are acting in our best interest is sadly mistaken.
Well, it's just like Pelosi's husband and brother are buying up land in California, the farmlands that, have to get rid of their land because they can't grow anything, and they're getting it for real cheap.
Pennies on the dollar. Hey,
Yep.
I think our surprise guest is here. Anyone who can name who this is in 2 words or less gets a Cupid doll.
I can't.
How about 2 letters or less?
Yes, 2 letters or less. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Uh-oh.
He's there.
I'm just hearing static. Is your mic on? Oh, the anticipation is building. I don't know.
He shows that he's there. Turn off your mute. Turn on mute. Turn off your mute.
I don't know. Maybe hang up and call him back. I'm hearing weird like static too. So maybe he's got one of those NSA connections at the moment.
The triple mic.
The one with the window open as they're driving.
All right, try it again.
I think I'm back, but I don't know about everybody else.
Sorry.
I'm back.
Whoops.
That was terrible. I'm sorry, guys.
No problem. Do we have him now?
I think so. Are you there? I think the microphone's got some issues.
Darn.
Well, we can keep him on, and then if he can get the audio going, he can just pop in whenever he's ready.
Yeah.
All right, so the anticipation's going to have to build. I wish I had anticipation music to play.
do, 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 do.
Yeah. Let's see. So where do we go from here?
I don't know.
How about the Supreme Court Justice warns of drones creating Orwellian future?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, here, it'll slide down. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor has voiced concerns that without sufficient protections, the age of unmanned drones and ubiquitous surveillance will usher in an Orwellian world. She told faculty and students at Oklahoma City University last week that technological capabilities allow devices to monitor your conversations from miles away and through your walls. We are in that brave new world, and we are capable of being in that Orwellian world, too, she added in a nod to George Orwell's authoritarian novel 1984. She also discussed the rise of drone use in wider society. There are drones flying over the air randomly that are recording everything that's happening on what we consider our private property. She said, according to the Wall Street Journal. That type of technology has to stimulate us to think about what it is that we cherish in privacy and how far we want to protect it from whom. Because people think that it should be protected just against the government intrusion. But I don't like the fact that someone I don't know can pick up, if they're a private citizen, one of those drones and fly it over my property.
Right, like the little punk ass that girl beat the shit out of on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Federal Aviation Administration is currently compiling rules and protocols to integrate unmanned aircraft systems into American skies as commercial interests and likes of Amazon and Google are pressing for increased access to airspace.
Hold on 1 second, sorry.
Okay.
Is our guest there? I'm hearing a lot of static now.
I am too.
No, I think you need to unplug. Oh, no. I might have to... I wish there was like a volume for each guest. I might have to disconnect this for a second.
Yeah, and then try...
Oh, there, he pulled the plug. He's still
Yeah.
connected. All right, sorry, go ahead.
I still show him. Okay. Let's see. The FAA forecasts there will be around 7,500 active unmanned systems moving through U.S. skies in 5 years, with over $89 billion invested in drone technologies worldwide over the next decade. Drones range from radio control model airplanes to those with wingspans of a commercial airline.
Well, you saw, too, that not only did Amazon and Bezos push for it, but Google is now, too.
Mm-hmm.
Are we all set now?
There you go!
Hey!
I've made a lot of noise in the background. I apologize, but here I am.
How you doing?
I just, I had my, I can explain because I still had my system set up because I'm running Linux to play clips from my my laptop. So I was running my show through the laptop and playing clips off my computer into the laptop. So my mixer was like the opposite of what it needed to be for me to be on this computer. Anyways, here I am. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Hey,
well, I wish I would have figured it out before I started making all that noise.
It was great anticipation.
Yeah, it built the suspense.
Yes.
It's great to hear you, dude.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so have you been working off in the real world for a little while, but have you been following any of this ISIS bullshit?
Well, yeah. So, see, here's the deal. I just, in order to do like a radio show like I like to do, I have to spend several hours a day in front of my computer. I just hate to get on the air and not know everything about everything, but yes, I have, of course, those are the rebels that we were funding, in Syria. And I'll tell you this, they say it's an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. Well, not too long ago, maybe about a month and a half or 2 months ago, I posted a couple of videos. They were in Islamic, in Arabic, but they were translated. And this was like this old school Al-Qaeda. And they call these guys retards. They're not the caliphate or anything like that. They're just retards. They're hired mercenaries.
Yeah, and they wanted nothing to do with them.
Yes,
that was that PR video. They said
yeah.
we're not affiliated with them.
Yeah. And truthfully, those are, half the pictures you see of these ISIS people have M16s, not AK-47s. Whether that means anything or not, I don't know. But again, yes, it's a creation of ours, and along with Syria, or along with Israel and Saudi Arabia and Turkey, just to keep that region
Qatar and
destabilized.
Jordan, don't forget.
Yeah? Well, yeah. Obviously.
They're all in the middle.
Keep the fear alive.
Yeah.
Well, it keeps the money rolling here in America, and that's all you're talking. It's the only radio I get. I listen to the radio for like 10 minutes a day on my way to work, which I had to do in a few minutes, is Fox News Radio, and it's, all these videos, do they have any proof that any of these people were actually executed and beheaded other than videos?
No, and I'll tell you what, this is one of the points that Brandon brought up is like, out of all the beheading videos he's seen over the last 3 or 4 years, and he's seen a lot of them, this is just such bullshit. I mean, if this is to instill fear in the hearts of all the world, then wouldn't they be showing the beheading? Why would they be worried about NC-17? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like putting
which
black
incidentally
boxes.
is in New York State, allegedly, or could be, right?
What's that?
The new virus out there?
Oh, I didn't see it in New York State. That was the
respiratory one.
Yeah, what was it? What the hell was it called? Enterovirus. Yeah, enterovirus.
Oh, so I just totally derailed you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's all right. That's all right. No, the NC-17, like the movie rating. Right. Had to be an adult or with an adult. But the fact that they were censoring these 3 videos now that have come out that's supposed to incense the American public to get behind the war effort, the new war effort.
Yeah, because it was fading, and people were.
People were raising an eyebrow. Where the hell do we have this money with 46 million Americans on SNAP benefits? Did you hear that story this morning? I was like, what the hell?
Well, and they're saying, and here's the right wing or the Fox News line. Look at what Obama's done to our country. There's 48 million people on food. There already were 46 million. These aren't new people. When Bush was in office, there was 45 million people on food stamps. Right. This isn't something brand new. For one, it's
they're all rubbish.
Huh?
People have short memories.
People have very short memories, and things aren't getting better. They're getting worse. There's people out here right now in my state executing ambushes on freaking state troopers. I mean...
In New York? I saw that in PA.
Well, it wasn't at northern PA, southern New York. It wasn't
did you see that? Did you see now how they're saying that they, they're anti-establishment and seriously, that...
Oh, no, the game is on.
Yeah, and that whole gun grab in New York, man, I really think they're going to spin this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had the firemen up there near you.
Fed up with cops killing innocent people.
Yeah. Well, I am.
But
nobody cares when they kick in the wrong door and firebomb a little baby in her bed.
Right.
But you injure one of them and frickin' hold the frickin' presses. Somebody in a uniform, somebody in a Halloween costume with a badge got hurt.
Yeah, how do you make a uniform mean more than anyone else's life?
Well, you don't kick in doors and run around like like you treat like you're king.
Yeah,
you treat people with respect. You patrol. You serve the people and the public. In our country right now, if you get pulled over, you're automatically... If you get pulled over on the highway right now, especially in New York State, if a trooper pulls you over, you're already a suspected terrorist.
Yeah. It's pitting the cops against the citizens.
Well, they run you. They're going to run you through the database, the consolidated databases, and see if your name pops up with a red flag.
Right, but if you flinch, you're an insurgent now. You're not, you know what I'm saying? The minute they come into contact with you, you're a possible insurgent.
Yes, that's what they're training
you
them
have
for.
an anal exam.
You scrunch your buttocks.
Then it's going to be a big, loud, happy party because I'm not letting that happen to me. I don't.
Well, the only thing when I saw that story from the other day about the PA trooper, and then I saw there was maybe we'll look at that tomorrow because I had that one posted where now they're saying, well, any of these anti-government blah, blah, blah. I mean, they always pick something like that and they focus on it. But it's not like it's happening widespread. You know what I mean? Maybe 2 incidences. Well, yeah, but remember, like in Nevada. Remember Nevada?
Oh yeah. No, yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
So that's really 2 in this.
And they like to link them to us, and that's a convenient link right there.
Well, right. So anyone that's pro-firearm minded, prepper minded, is going to be linked to insurgency, and I really think that that's the end game. That's how they're going to push the anti-gun agenda.
But compare 2 deaths of 2 officers or 3 compared to how many the police have killed.
It's like 800 this year alone.
Yeah, or more. They don't really keep records of that stuff either.
Well, Clyde Freeman keeps records, and it was up to in 5 years it was 6,000.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey guys,
and that was just in 5 years.
I hate to say this, but we're down to the last 25 seconds of the show.
I gotta say hola. I gotta say goodbye.
JJ, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, JJ. Anytime, man. Just drop us a note.
Yeah,
it
was rainy this morning, so that's why I was actually happened to be around.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you were.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day. All right,
JJ.
Ladies, thank you for hanging out today. It was an awesome conversation. Everyone, thank you for listening. Have a happy Tuesday. And stick around tonight. Tuesday night is Prepper Night. All kinds of new shows on. And Mr. Kevin Blanche is up next. Everybody take care.
Thanks, guys.